For 4 seasons, this show has been dangling answers in front of us like car keys, just out of reach. And every time we think we've figured something out, it pulls the rug out. But the season 4 finale of From did something different. It stopped teasing, and it actually told us something. Something massive. There's a war happening inside that town, and we have been watching both sides move their pieces without knowing either player even existed. That ends now. Let's break it all down. If you have not seen the season 4 finale yet, first of all, you should probably go watch it. And second, there are major spoilers from this point on. The finale is titled, If a Tree Falls in the Forest, which, given what happens in it, is one of the more pointed episode titles this show has ever used. Because yes, they pull out the bottle tree. And yes, everything immediately goes sideways. Here is the short version. Boyd and his group manage to pull the bottle tree out of the ground to create an escape route for Tabitha and Jade, who are underground trying to recover the bones of the Angui children. The moment that tree comes out, daytime snaps to night. Out of nowhere. Just gone. The creatures, who normally cannot roam during the day, are suddenly free to move. An earthquake hits. Red lightning starts shooting up from the caves. Everything the residents thought they knew about the rules of that town stops being true in about 3 minutes. And Victor, who had been warning people not to touch that tree, was right. He and the boy in white both said, leave it alone. Nobody listened. So the town just had the two things keeping alive ripped out in one move. The talismans are gone. The bottle tree is gone. And going into season 5, those people have almost nothing left except a set of children's bones they do not yet know how to use. Now, the moment the whole internet is talking about. The final 2 minutes of the episode. Sophia, who we now know is the man in yellow wearing a human face, walks through the forest toward the faraway tree after having spent the entire season stealing talismans and systematically dismantling every protection the residents had. And right there, in the forest, the boy in white steps into the frame. These two, the big mysterious entities who have been operating in the shadows of this show for 4 seasons, are standing in the same space, looking at each other. And the boy in white says 2 things. They have the bones. And then, directly to Sophia, you're going to lose this time. Sophia's response? I guess we will see. And she throws the talismans into the faraway tree. That exchange is doing a lot of heavy lifting. On the surface, it sounds like 2 rivals having a quick chat. But what the showrunner Jeff Pinkner confirmed in his post-finale interview is that this scene is not just about the current cycle. It is about the nature of this entire conflict. Neither side knows how this ends. The man in yellow is not some all-knowing force running a predetermined script. He created this situation. He built the trap. But he is as curious as the residents about whether it will work this time. That is a genuinely unsettling thing to realize about a villain. He is not confident. He is invested. Here is the question that has been sitting in the back of my mind, and I think in the back of a lot of fans' minds too. Why can these two do such different things? The man in yellow spent an entire season living inside the town as Sophia, a disguise so convincing that people trusted her, confided in her, and followed her directions. He was in the middle of everything, actively sabotaging operations, stealing protections, manipulating people at close range. He got Elgin killed. He got the talismans destroyed. He did all of this while wearing a human face. The boy in white? He shows up twice. He speaks in fragments. He only appears to specific people who have some kind of sensitivity to him. Tabitha can see him. Victor can see him. Most of the town cannot. And even when he does appear, he gives cryptic hints instead of just saying the actual useful thing. Why the difference? Why can one of them shape-shift and infiltrate while the other can only whisper clues to a few select people? One theory that has been floating around is that the boy in white operates on a principle of free will. Like the character Jacob from Lost, he may believe that the residents have to make the right choices on their own for any victory to actually count. If he just solved the puzzle for them, maybe it does not break the cycle. Maybe the cycle only ends when the residents figure it out themselves. But there is another possibility that I find more interesting. What if it is not a philosophical choice? What if the boy in white is simply less powerful than the man in yellow, and the rules of that town actually favor the villain? What if the town itself was built by the man in yellow, for the man in yellow, and the boy in white is working against the grain of the whole system? That would explain why the man in yellow can bend the rules from inside, while the boy in white has to nudge things from the outside. The show has never given us a clean origin for either of these figures, but the clues are there if you know where to look. The boy in white has appeared to look like a child for at least the past 40 years within the story. Victor has known him since he was a boy himself, so this entity has been around for a long time without aging the way a normal person would. One fan theory, and honestly one of the better ones, suggests a connection to the Angui children. The children whose bones Tabitha and Jade just dug up. The history of the town suggests that these children were sacrificed at some point, and that sacrifice may be what gave the creatures their immortality. If the boy in white is one of those children, or is in some way connected to them, that would explain why he has remained in a youthful form. It would also explain why recovering the bones is so significant to him. He tells Sophia that the residents have the bones as if that is his ace card. His reason for optimism. Series creator John Griffin confirmed that the Season 4 finale was designed to show audiences that the boy in white and the man in yellow are not two aspects of the same thing. They are not two sides of the same coin. They are opponents. With the town as their board, Season 5 is confirmed. It is the final season. 13 episodes. Filming starts in Halifax, Nova Scotia later in 2026, and the premiere is targeting sometime in 2027. The creators have said from the beginning that this was always a 5-season, 50-episode story, and MGM Plus gave them the runway to tell it exactly that way. No extensions. No soft endings that leave things open. A real conclusion. Pinkner was pretty direct about what Season 5 is going to deal with. Can the residents actually escape? Who survives? What sacrifices are going to be required? And perhaps most importantly, can the man in yellow actually be defeated? Because that last question has never been clear. We have assumed the goal is escape. But defeating the man in yellow and escaping the town might not be the same thing. The bones might not be an escape tool. They might be a weapon. And then there's Fatima. She transformed into one of the creatures in the finale to save the group in the caves. She is now something between human and monster. What that means going into Season 5 is one of the biggest wild cards the show has set up, because she is essentially the first person who has crossed that line and come back. The From Season 4 finale did something that Mystery Box shows almost never do this well. It answered a real question. The boy in white is an ally. The man in yellow is the villain. They know each other. They have history. And neither one of them knows exactly how this ends. That is the setup for the final season. And for a show that has spent 4 years building one of the most intricate mythologies in horror television, that is a really interesting place to leave things. The question is not whether the residents can survive one more night. The question is whether 4 seasons of small clues, reincarnated characters, cryptic children, and a supernatural town built on suffering are going to add up to an ending that actually pays everything off. Based on what we just saw, I think they might. Season 5 cannot get here soon enough. If you want to break this down further, or you have a theory I did not cover, drop it in the comments. And if you're new here and this is the kind of deep breakdown you are into, the subscribe button is right there.